Hey, it's Benji Cole, son of Al Cole from CBS Radio, welcoming you to another edition of People of Distinction, the talk that gives an in-depth view of some of the most dynamic, intelligent, and successful people on the planet. Run to our website, peopleofdistinction.org, for more info, or you can email me directly at benji@alcoleenterprises.com. And on the line with us today, we have Lane W. We'll be discussing his fantastic book, People's Anonymous, 12 Steps to Heal Your Life. Available at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, or if you guys want to get everything that Lane has to offer, listen, do yourself a favor. Amazon and Barnes & Noble, of course, are great resources to purchase the book, but go directly to his personal website to get the full experience of everything Lane has to offer. That's peoplesanonymous.com. There you'll be able to find more information on the book, more information on Lane. You'll also be able to purchase the book as well. So one more time, that's peoplesanonymous.com. And I will say, Lane was brought to People of Distinction today by some of the best movers in the business. Parchment Global Publishing. If you have a book that you'd like moved, move it to Parchment. You can find them at parchmentglobalpublishing.com. And guys, listen, it is an absolute honor and really such a treat to have Lane here on the line with us, because his book we're discussing today, People's Anonymous, right off the bat, the subtitle to that, 12 Steps to Heal Your Life, is going to give you so much information on what to expect. And listen, I don't know about you guys, but given what we're all going through currently with this COVID situation, there's a lot of obstacles in our way. There's a lot of adversity that a lot of us are facing, myself included. And really, with this COVID situation, without this COVID situation, isn't life in general just constantly handing us adversity, constantly handing us challenges that we need to really persevere and work our way through? And with this book, People's Anonymous, we're really going to learn from Lane W. himself on these steps that we can utilize in our everyday lives to really help us overcome our daily challenges. And listen, I'm so glad that we have him here on the line, because he's the expert. He's going to be able to articulate all the nuances in his book much better than I ever could. So without further ado, let's bring him here on the line with us. Lane, first and foremost, thank you so much for being a guest with us today on People of Distinction. How are you?
Man, I'm good, brother. I got to tell you, you ought to do radio. You sound real good. I got to say, wow, that was pretty good.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you very much.
I wish I had a voice that was so harmonic and all that. I sound like an old black blues man, I think, actually. But, we need a place too. I lost my voice here, I guess, about a week ago when we were originally scheduled. I got about half of it back. So you listeners out there, just know that I'm not this old. I don't always sound like I'm in a tunnel, but I think I'm going to write a blues song while I'm, experiencing this little sore throat or whatever.
Absolutely.
And be a singer just for a minute.
Utilize
What's
it, man.
going on with you, brother? How's your day?
I'm fantastic. Thank you so much, Lane. Again, it's an honor to have you on. Listen, don't sell yourself short. That raspiness in your voice right now, that's appealing, okay? That's a market right there. So record that blues song.
The girls do seem to like it or something.
There you go.
I don't know. They listen to me a little bit better. I'm afraid I'm one of them cats, though, that kind of fell in love with my own voice. That's part of the problem. Maybe that's why I like it. We got to have sympathy for those in our lives. So maybe they don't, say.
Absolutely.
Sonny Lane, well, my nickname is Sonny, but you guys, if y'all looking for the book, it's Lane W. published by Lane W. Anonymously, and we'll go into maybe why that is, because I'm not really trying to sponsor the world, but that's a whole nother subject. But, anyway, sometimes they say, Sonny, come on, baby, give me a chance to talk. But anyway, Benji, it's a pleasure to be here with you.
Lane, let's jump right in, man. Let's not hold off any longer. We're very excited about this. Let's start off. Listen, what is People's Anonymous?
Well, it's interesting. You're talking about life a minute ago and the COVID thing and just the way sometimes life hits us.
Mm-hmm.
We all get challenges, man. And I landed on the planet and I had a little affinity towards drinking, I don't know why, because it seemed to be a lot better than coping or what the hell. But I went through some things, I lost my first wife in a car wreck, and that's funny. I don't talk about that a lot, but,
so sorry about
and
that.
I did a little, too much drinking after that. I wound up in one of these little A&A classes,
Mm-hmm.
and I wasn't happy to be there. I'll tell you that for sure, and, a bunch of old people, and they were, talking about prohibition and running whiskey, and I thought I had died and gone to hell, and they were not drinking, and I wasn't excited about that either. But, I'd kind of overdone it, and I'd never really been conscious before, and I figured that might be good at this moment. And so long story short, what I stumbled across was, not realizing at the moment, is that one of the theses of People's Anonymous is that every generation is given a formula or a recipe, or what I like to call a spiritual alchemy, to transform or to awaken your life. And these old drunks have been given the keys to the kingdom, and they've been given this process by which they could, of course, stop drinking, and be happy. But way more than that, and the founder of AA, Bill W., said, and I quote in the beginning of my book, direct quote from him, and besides, we are sure this way of living has its advantages for all. But it needed to prove itself first. And now, I don't care if you like A&A or whatever, but there's millions of people all over the world who are living lives beyond their wildest dream as a result of working this 12-step process. But yeah, there's a problem. I'm sitting on the beach, minding my own business in the Caribbean. I got my beautiful bride with me, my little boys playing in the sand. I might, writing in my journal, minding my own business. And as I'm writing in my journal, something took my hand and I wrote, Lane, please open up this information to the rest of my kids. Thanks, Dad, capital D. I went, oh, Lord. But anyway, long story short, this is an introduction to the book, but this lady sat down. She's probably about 79 years old, still stunningly beautiful. I mean, amazing. And spoke probably 7 languages. You've met a woman like that, Benji. You can tell that,
Absolutely.
Even now she's beautiful, but must have been a real stunner back in the day.
Yes, sir.
And we were just talking. She said she had noticed us, and we were just talking about life. And I had been mixing the 12 steps and how they had, really helped my life. And she said, "What is that?" And I thought, well, woman, the reason I'm on this beach is instead of many other places. But, I didn't go into that. I just said, well, they're the formula by which I've transformed my life beyond my wildest dream. And she was super curious about it, Benji. She was like, well, tell me about the steps and tell me about this step and that step. And then we got to the, fun part, the amends. That's when you pay the money back to people that don't even know you took it. That's always fun. And so she said, you mean I got to make amends with my ex-husband? And I said, well, ma'am, I don't know, maybe. So what People's Anonymous is finally, we are here to remove all degrees of separation in the 12-step movement of transformation. AA has changed the world. It sold over 30 million copies of that book. Time magazine voted the AA Big Book as one of the 100 most influential books ever in time. The Library of Congress voted it one of the most influential books since 1923. It's impacted over 170 nations, and yet it's only for 10% of the planet. What about the rest of God's kids? What about the people? They're just as messed up as we drugs are, or whatever, but they ain't got no medicine to take. So PA makes this incredibly beautiful process available to anyone. If you're a person, you now qualify. You don't have to be an overeater. You don't have to, I'm not going to say that. It's kind of funny. But it would be super funny if I could say it on the radio, but I better not. But you don't have to be a drug addict, overeater, or have a little or anything. There you go. You can figure it out. If you're a person, man, you qualify. And it's like a workbook where it has, at the end of each chapter, there's 12 steps, 12 chapters. That little workbook, you have to know you don't want to do no work. But if you want to have joy and bliss in life, my friends, you got to do some work, man. If you got a conscience and you ain't working, you ain't gonna be happy. It's funny, these people go to all these therapists all the time. If they came to me, I'd say, start behaving. You'll feel good. Misbehave, feel bad. Simple, penny. Whatever. So, the 12 steps teach you how to act right too. So, what do you think about all that?
I mean, listen, this is profound, man. I absolutely love everything that you're saying because, again, we all know, as you're saying, right, the alcohol AA book, it's something that is so profound, something that can reach so many people, but it only applies to 10% of the population, as you stated, right? What about everybody else? And I think a book of this magnitude where it really just breaks it down, as you said, it's 12 chapters, 12 steps. At the end of every chapter, there's a step there. It's a workbook. It's a guidebook that way that'll really help cater and really coach people throughout their process. I think this is something that needs to be on everybody's shelf, right? These lessons need to be learned. We know that a lot of times people, let's call a spade, people can tend to be lazy, right? And when they come across problems, it's easier to just give up and give in rather than really tackle it head on. And having a book of this magnitude that not only helps cater to that, but also gives proper instructions with each chapter, I think is very profound and is going to be very beneficial. So, Lane, let's continue to move forward, man. I hear everything that you're saying about the book. My next question is really, what inspired the book People's Anonymous?
Well, man, you had me. I had several other thoughts. Like I said, if I'd known I'd live this long, I might have saved a couple of brain cells. But anyway, I wish I could remember what I had some great thoughts right up to that. But, the truth is, Bill Wilson, who founded AA, realized this in 1935. He knew that this process, like I said, one of the theses of People Anonymous is every generation since the beginning of time is given a process to awaken. Maybe it's called the Tao in one generation. Maybe called the Way. Hell, it may have been called the 10 Commandments back in that little generation. But today it just happened to be called the 12 Steps. The problem is too, though. I remember that thought. It came back. Thank you. Anyway, so I got to tell you, Benji, alcoholism was my greatest blessing. There's a word called apokatastasis. It means in the midst of seeming tragedy lies the fruit of glory. It literally means that the worst stuff that happens to us is really the best stuff trying to happen to us. And the problem with people and People's Anonymous is they are not gifted with the gift of desperation like my butt was, because I was dying, man, and so I was motivated to do something, and so, people live a life of quiet desperation, and they just, they're not being what they're created to be. Their joy level is minimal at best. They don't even taste bliss, unless they do drugs or something, and maybe that ain't why we're here. Mm-hmm. But the spiritual alchemy, the 12 steps do gradually what cocaine does instantly. The 12 steps do gradually what whiskey does instantly. When I heard that, I'm like, I'm in. I thought I came here to quit getting high. Hell, I don't want to get getting high. I just need to find a new way because that shit ain't working. Taking myself to the pawn shop, it's not working out. So, I got to find a new way to get high. So Timothy Leary said back in the 60s, the use of drugs and alcohol are an attempt at spirituality through modern chemistry. Very important piece, man. I thought I was just a bad person, but I was really just trying to have a spiritual experience, through modern chemistry. And trust me, I did a couple times, but it didn't last. But the steps actually last. It is a process summed up in 6 words: trust the universe, clean house, help others, man. Take your own damn inventory, nobody else. When I came there, this is hilarious. I walk in that AA class, and once again, guys, if you're listening to this, I have worked with AA World Service closely. They gave me generous copyright permissions because they believe, like Bill Wilson said back in the day, besides this way of life to be helpful to anyone. And I wrote this thing anonymously, hence why they call me Lane W. I want to address this with everyone real quickly, because, if you do anything in life, you're going to have people that love you and some that hate you. A lot of people hate me for doing this. A lot of people love me. Hell, I got a review the other day. It brought me to tears. It said, this book has helped save my life. So I don't care what anyone says. That one matters. But anyway, so we work closely with AA World Service. They gave us generous copyright permission because they know, like Bill said, this process can be helpful towards anyone. And once again, written anonymously. Very important. So back to Timothy Leary. He said the use of drugs and alcohol are an attempt at spirituality through modern chemistry. And what we've been doing, a lot of us, is just trying to find God or whatever, have a spiritual experience. And I think for some of us it is a nice bridge, but some of us get stuck on it. But People's Anonymous is not for alcoholics. It's not for addicts. It's for the remaining 90% of the world. Very important point. I put in the book, if you're an alcoholic, put the book down. Take your butt to A&A. If you're an addict, go to NA. We already got proven programs. But if you're not fortunate enough to be a drunk or a junkie, whatever, or an addict, then you qualify. Well, come on in, and work you some steps. and see if your life can transform like you see that little recovering person. You know, Benji, I wanted to ask you this question. Pretty much everybody's been touched, their life has been touched in some way or another by somebody, either, you know, alcoholic, addict, or in recovery. And what's sad is we got all these little happy recovering people running around glowing in the dark, and all these sober people are miserable. You know, and so, you know, it's like time to go, wait a minute, you know, how come you're so happy? I used to be a DJ at a country western bar, and I was sober, going to my little meetings, and, you know, everybody's drinking, and about 10, 11 o'clock, they're like throwing up in the bathroom and stuff, and I'm drinking coffee, I'm happier, and, you know, pigging, you know what, you know. And they come up to me at midnight. They say, "Sonny, baby, why are you so happy?" You know, and I said, "Well, you know, I'm conscious. You know, I just spent $100 and poured it all out in the bathroom. You know, and I'm a big fan of drinking. Don't get me wrong. You know, in PA you can still drink. You know, but if it's a problem in your life, what the steps is going to do is help you get down to the root causes and conditions. You know, we are co-creators in our life. Cheeseburger shows up in your life, you ordered it at some level of consciousness. Yeah, I know people hate that, but you know, so you know, so we are co-creators, you know? And what the steps are going to do is help you get down to the true causes and conditions. You know, I am the only common denominator in all my relationships, and so are you. If you think it's that old girl or old boy that keeps messing you up, what is it about you that attracts old girl in the first place?
Absolutely.
You know? And you might live your whole life and never know that and keep attracting old girl. And you ain't going to get this girl I got, you know, because I got her by doing the work, man, by looking at my inventory, getting honest with another human being and making amends, getting right, and then actually writing out, this taught me this shit in a little program, you know, a sane and sound sex idea. And boy, I got permission to just write whatever I wanted. It was kind of like, beautiful, amazing, sensual, sexy, young, athletic, kind, sweet, generous, altruistic. I went to my, you know, mentor, gave him the list, and I said, "I'm ready for a relationship." He started laughing. And I'm like, "What's so funny?" He said, "Well, hell, Lane, what would a girl like that want to do with you?" You know, but you know, he wasn't really being, you know, dick or mean or whatever. He was giving me some wisdom, man. Because then he had me the list back. He said, "Baby, go become these things." And as you become these things, since like attracts like, obviously, you'll draw her to your life. And she's still with me, bitch.
There you have it. You know, Lane, listen, everything that you're saying is so amazing, man. The one thing that I love absolutely, which of course continues to get reiterated in everything, is, listen, guys, nothing worth having ever comes easy. Okay, you have to be okay and come to grips with the fact that, listen, you're going to have to put in work. It's not going to be easy. It's not easy to hold that mirror up to yourself and really look within to see and recognize your flaws in terms of what is happening, right? Lane's talking about in terms of relationships. Listen, if you keep attracting the same people and these relationships are ending and, you know, you're frustrated by that, maybe it's not the people in which you're dating. Maybe it's the people in which you're choosing, right? And you're
a lot nicer than I am, Benji. Maybe. Yeah, that's really sweet. You give a little slow pitch there. Maybe it ain't you. Well, you got to start with maybe, but, you know, this is actually definitely not you. I'm looking in the mirror one time, and a little sticker at the top says, "You're looking at the problem." You know? So,
absolutely. You know, and I think that as profound as it is, a lot of times it's not easy to do because, again, in order to achieve ultimate happiness and what we're looking for in our lives, we have to be able to recognize that we are the cause of our unhappiness. And a lot of times that's not easy for people to come to terms with, right? And I love the fact that you're bringing that up. Lane, listen, I have to get into this next question because my listening audience is going to get very upset with me if I don't hurry up and ask, okay? There's 12 steps to heal your life. That's the subtitle to the book, okay? I got to know, what are the 12 steps? And listen, before we even jump into it, guys, you know what you got to do. If you want to hear all 12 steps, we're not going to go into it here, okay? There's no getting around it. You got to go to Amazon. You got to go to Barnes & Noble. Go to peoplesanonymous.com. Purchase your copy of People's Anonymous, 12 Steps to Heal Your Life. That's the only way to get all 12 steps. But since we have you here on the line with us, Lane, please, man, I'd love to hear maybe 1, 2, or even 3 of those steps.
Well, brother, I got something. If your ass don't know you're powerless yet, then wait till somebody tells you you got cancer, or I'm leaving you, or bankruptcy time, or I'm alcoholic, whatever. We all hate step one. I admitted I'm powerless, and my life is unmanageable. And that don't mean I can't pay the damn bills or get the girl. That means I cannot manage the internal spiritual malady that I have constantly when I ain't treating it with something. And I don't care if, you treat yours with hoovering or sex or money or prestige or anger or fashion or yogaing or NLP or whatever. You're treating it with something. We all have it. That's one of the great realizations of People's Anonymous, is that, man, we're all in this together. Our interests do not lie separate, nor does our healing, man. And so we all suffer from trying, our egos writing checks that our ass can't cash, And damn, that's funny. That's hilarious. Anyway, see, at least I entertain myself. I don't know. You cats are having fun, but I'm having fun. That's all that matters. So,
yes, sir.
In my life. So step one, you got of myself, I have nothing. In my weakness lies his strength. And I'm not a religious man. I don't know if there's a God or not. But I know that little butterfly got from that branch in Maine all the way to Mexico and back, and I can't get down the damn street, without GPS. So there's that. I want to plug into the thing the butterfly's plugged into, or the whale, or the fish, or the planets that ain't hitting each other. So the first step is realizing my mind is not a governor, it's an antenna. And that's profound, I need to listen, get into silence, man, plug in. And then you got a little surrender piece where you basically, realize that I was sitting on a sponsor with sitting on a curb with my sponsor. He said, Lane, your brain is not the tool to use to manage your life. Use it only to count change. I was saying, damn, baby, but it was true, I mean, I can accomplish some stuff, but it's all chaos in the end, I want to surrender to the power that is guiding this beautiful universe, making it all synchronistic and beautiful, and it made those beautiful women and those beautiful sunsets and those beautiful oceans. I want to plug into that, and that's what the steps do. They're really a phone number. Boy, this is crazy. I almost sound like the Blues Brothers here, vision from God, but they're a phone number, and you dial them, and you plug into the source, man, and you get downloaded with exactly where you're supposed to be, doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing, so it can place exactly in your path your heart's desire. The first principle in any process is, you cannot fix a problem with the same mind that created it. I didn't come up with that one, but my God, I sure hated that because I kept doing that, And so it's the surrender process, whatever that is to you. That's the first step. It's just we admit we're powerless and our life is unmanageable. That other, little program, which once again, listening audience, I'm speaking anonymously, and we maintain personal anonymity at the level of press, radio, and films when we go to that little secret organization. And that's why I'm speaking as Wayne W. But anyway, so what we talking about? So yeah, we got you got to surrender to one of the great gifts of that organization that just saved my life was a phrase in the third step, which says, "Make a decision to turn our will and our life over to the care of God, as we understood Him." Dude, my whole life, the Baptists and the Catholics and the heathens and everyone else, trying to tell me what to believe, and that little organization that helped save my life said I could have a higher power of my own understanding or lack thereof that I didn't even have to understand. I still don't understand. But what I find is, when I admit I don't know, then I can know some stuff. The moment I think I know some stuff, then my brain shuts down. Mm-hmm. So, the third step, you surrender in one, you got to place you stop trying to fix a problem with the same mind that created it and step free. As my sponsor said, don't use your brain to manage your life. Use it only to count change. And then you get to work, and you do some inventory. You look at the stock and trade, man. What you got really going on? In your life, we are masters at taking everybody else's inventory. Baby, I can tell you what's wrong with you so quick, and so can everybody else. The problem is it's totally futile. No one has ever pointed anything out to me that motivated me to change it. The only time I want to change is when I break my own heart, when I look at my own stuff and I get honest with me. And in fifth step, I got to get honest with me, myself, and another human being. That sucker better be raised by Sicilians or Catholics, though, because they got to keep a secret. But, all these steps were derived from many different, things. Religion, philosophy, mythology, all in all, and so the cost of Catholicism gave us this stuff, confession.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you bring something out of the dark into the light, loses power. Simple. You keep it hidden. Well, you only stick as your secrets. And once you do that, then you make a list of people you hurt, and that's my omission or commission. You either did something you shouldn't have done, or you should have done something you didn't. You weren't a good dad, you weren't a good friend, you weren't whatever, or you were, you cheated or whatever,
Right.
You think that ain't coming back, baby, really, all the teachers from the beginning of time said, you reap what you sow. Hell, the hippies say what comes around goes around. Buddha said, what you send out, come back. Oh my God, you ain't got that yet? Get the memo, dude. We live in a self-cleaning universe, in this life and the next one, baby. You ain't getting away with shit, so it gives you a process to voluntarily clean up proactively your own mess. That way you ain't got to live in fear, knowing the Grim Reaper's coming to visit your ass,
Mm-hmm.
So there's that. You get much happier. See, all these steps is a process towards bliss. You may want to call it enlightenment. Awakening. It's funny, that book that I rarely read says, man fell into a deep sleep, God took out a rib, made a woman. Well, whatever you did, whatever you used to make her, I'm happy with. But nowhere does he say he woke up. Nowhere. And 90% of the planet, Benji, is walking in their sleep, man. They're having some bad dreams.
Absolutely.
See, the mind is a projector. The thing you call your life is a screen, baby. And what we're doing is trying to rearrange the seats on the Titanic, but the boat's sinking, man. So, oh my God, this is hilarious. Don't listen to this, it'll ruin your life. But, we got to stop rearranging the seats on the Titanic, man, and fix the boat, fix the projector. It's like this, brother. If you go see a movie called Your Life, you got three choices. Number one, complain about the film. You sit in the movie. You ever been to a bad movie, Benji?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And you're sitting there like, Brokeback Cowboy, whatever. I love gay people, but it's a little too much. Couldn't handle all that. And I sit there going, oh my God, he's going to kiss him. Whatever. So you can complain about it. Or you can get them to leave the theater, which is what we do with alcohol and drugs. I'm checking out. Or change the projector. The steps change the projector, and instantaneously your life changes automatically. Because the book says, People Anonymous, 12 steps to heal your life. First within, then without. Oh my God, what did you just say? Baby, if you want any real transformation, it must begin within you, inside of you. Not by a new job or some, put lipstick on a pig or change your outfit, get a new car, new girl. Man, I was a master at that. I got nowhere. But once I started doing the inside work, all of a sudden my life changed automatically. And I went, damn, I wasn't watching a dramedy, a drama and a tragedy and a comedy because my life, to a kind of mild, soft, anyway, great show, fun movie, and so then guess what? You keep what you have by giving away. You get out and help others. You're now not a snake oil salesman or the latest self-help book, because this is not a self-help program. If yourself can help yourself, it already helps yourself. What I think is crazy is when people come to ask for help, and then they tell the helpee tries to tell the helper how to help. Baby, if you could help, if you knew how to fix this thing, you'd have done it.
Absolutely.
So once this powerful recipe that's already transformed millions of alcoholics, hell, if you can fix alcoholics, you can fix anything. Because we are, very insidious people. We're like killing ourselves and we're arrogant at the same time. But, then you launch off helping others and you keep what you have by giving away. The hippies used to say we get high, we will help my friends. So we share the gift of joy we have, it turns into bliss. That's it.
Yeah, you have it. Lane, I love the analogies that you're using because they're so pertinent, right? They're comical, but at the same time, when you kind of sift through the comedy, you see that, again, this information is fantastic. It's so pertinent, and it's very valuable information. And one thing that a quote that kept kind of resonating in my mind as you were talking about the very first step. And, it's kind of like what it's the quote is, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. And a lot of times that is exactly the position that we generally put ourselves in, right? If we don't like something, rather than addressing it or changing it, we just keep doing the same thing. You know, like you were talking about with you, you just got a new car and a different girl, right? And you would just keep doing the same, going through the same vicious cycle until it finally got to the point where you recognized you had to fix what was going on within before you were able to do anything, outwardly.
Exactly, baby, because the problem with all that is I'm the only I'm going to make T-shirts, I think, but nobody will buy them or wear them because they don't want no one to know. But, I'm the only common denominator. I mean, I did go to, kindergarten or whatever, first grade, the common denominator in all my relationships. So,
yes, sir.
Whatever, it's like, oh my God. So I got a new girl, but she looks and acts just like the old girl, but worse. But now, oh my God. You made an interesting point, Benji. Baby, we're gonna laugh or cry. Either way. I find,
yes,
I think those of us that are cursed with or blessed with, trying to somehow help wake this planet up before we blow it up, which is wow. There's that. You got to be able to articulate some pretty powerful ideas in a metaphoric way and make people laugh a little bit, because if not, they're gonna cry their ass off. Because it's like this, baby. If you got a man that's in a house for years and the electricity's off and he's just been held up in there drinking his Budweiser, we'll say, and it's dark, he can't see the mess. You come in and turn on the light. Who's he mad at? You, because you made him see his mess, but it ain't your fault. You just illuminated the room, And, healing is really like that. There's something else I ain't had a chance to talk about real quick, Benji, but the People's Anonymous is not a marriage, but a beautiful, intimate relationship between a thing called A Course in Miracles and the 12 Steps. The Course has been on the planet for about 70 years. I highly suggest you don't do it because it'll totally change your world. But I worked with the Foundation for Inner Peace and also got generous copyright permissions from them to blend these two incredible spiritual technologies so that we actually have something at our disposal. There's so many snake oil salesmen. They don't mean to be bad, but they think their latest, little ideas will somehow help you feel better. If their latest idea ain't about, surrendering your ass, stop doing the things over and over, cleaning up your mess, making amends for what you did wrong, and then helping the people, it probably ain't gonna work. Because you said it earlier, brother. Anything in life that's valuable requires work.
Absolutely.
I was listening to a fifth step one night, I went short and I'm in Miami Beach, my other condo, other place, and this old boy was doing his fifth step. Won't say who it was, won't go into none of that because that's private. But basically, he cheated on his wife, and then she cheated on him. No, wait, he went off on a drinking bender, and she cheated while he was gone. She thought he was cheating, so and then he treated her back for a long, long time after that. Kept rubbing her face in it, and we went over that and looked at our night step. He said, "Man, you mean I got to make amends with my ex-wife the way I treated her for cheating on me?" I said, "Baby, yes, you do. That's why they call it work." You got to clean up your side of the street regardless of what the other person did. That's their karma. What did you do to set the ball rolling? There's a powerful quote out of that big book. It says this, let's see if I can quote it. "We make decisions based on self that later place us in a position to be hurt, so our troubles, we believe, are basically our own making." I like to say it like this. We make decisions based on self to place our ass at the scene of the crime. If you don't figure out what that is, your life's going to keep you in the scene of crime.
Absolutely. Lane, listen, we know about the book. We know about the 12 steps. We know what inspired you to write it. Next question that I have is, what's the vision that you see for the future of People's Anonymous?
Wow, that's a beautiful thought. But listen, I won't say this. I really didn't write it. It came through me, read it by me. I ain't smart enough for none of this stuff. I just sat down with I can't even type, Benji. The Creator gave me a nice place to type from, I must say. I'm sitting on my balcony in basically South Beach on the ocean, looking at downtown Miami in the water. I'm looking at Billy Joel's house across the street on this little island, and I'm pen and pecking. I can't even type, but this stuff's flowing through me. Bill Wilson wanted this stuff. Man, he tried in the beginning. He tried before there was even an A&A. These principles came from a thing called the Oxford Group. They had 6 tenets. And if you practice those 6 ideals, man, they were healing people with sickness and all kinds of stuff. But they had one problem. They're meeting in the bottom of the basement of a church, and they're saying, we got it, and they don't. So they got kicked out, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But, so you don't think, this ain't the only way either. There are several powerful, genuine paths to enlightenment or awakening. This is just one of them. But it's one that's made more difference than anything else. So when I wrote the book, or the book came through me, I started my little book tour. And I started in Maui, which I'm a big beach lover, and I went from Maui to Manhattan to Miami to Denver to San Diego and Austin and all points in between. And next thing you know, there's little PA meetings. Because the process of transformation is only one of the gifts that little secret organization gave with them 12 steps to the world. They gave this thing called a fellowship, where you can be anywhere in the world and walk into a little meeting, and you instantly have camaraderie and friends. And you hear people talking about stuff openly in public in front of a bunch of strangers that most people ain't even admitted to themselves. It's amazing. And membership has its privileges. Well, I wanted the rest of the world to have that because I had this friend of mine. I'm in the music business, I'm in the film business, I'm an author, I'm a Gemini, so I'm like schizophrenic. I own a construction company, I have a fashion line, I'm creating, on and on.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to just give a little shout out to everybody. I live in Austin, LA, and Miami Beach. I was homeless years ago, so there's that. I work with 512 Studio out of Austin, Texas, one of the best recording studios on the planet, and we are making some incredible music. We're trying to write songs that will help awaken the planet. Also, we're sneaking them in there subliminally. I work in LA with California Pictures and stuff, and Miami Beach. I love that area. My little place down there. So anyway, I was just writing. So I go on this little tour, just to talk about the book, and these little PA meetings start popping up, man. So you go to peoplesanonymous.com, you want to start a little PA meeting in your neighborhood, baby. You can go and click on that little 3 lines on the right. I'm not the tech guy, but it'll say something about PA or whatever. And there's a format that you can download it. You can do your own thing. I don't want your money. I'm doing all this as a tithe to give back. Just so assholes out there think I'm making money off this shit. And I spent $50,000 of my own damn money doing this, and I ain't got shit back. So there's that. But I do want to give back because through this process in these 12 steps, man, my life transformed beyond my wildest dreams, brother. I mean, I went from, not doing so good to doing far better, than, and I'm not going to get into all that, but trust me, I am the most blessed person I've ever met. And so the vision for People's Anonymous is eventually little meetings, just like the A&A meetings, little PA meetings, where everybody's got a place to go because, there's a quote, let's see if I can pull it up. The therapeutic value of one addict helping another was without parallel. Well, addict, you can be a person, but the therapeutic value of one person coming together with another person and recognizing your interests are not separate. That means if you win, I win. If you lose, I lose. I get busy making sure your ass wins.
Mm-hmm.
And when 2 or more come together and do that, powerful stuff happens.
Absolutely.
And the vision is 1,000 points of light, little meetings all over the planet. And I think like the A&A or whatever, you cats that are in PA, y'all eventually write your own PA book, just like they did. But you can use mine in the meantime, just to get you started.
There you have it. So, Lane, this is fantastic, man. I love the vision. I hope it comes to fruition. Now, we know the vision. Next question is, what is the status of the movement currently?
Well, there's meetings out there. What happened in my personal life is, I actually stayed sober 10 years, long damn time between martinis for the record. But
that's
and
fantastic,
then,
man.
any woman that can put up with me for 10 days, much less 10 years, deserves an Academy Award. But, I went through a divorce right in the middle of the book tour, basically. And I got I got a little boy. He's 11 years old. He's my heart, man. He's beautiful. And look, I co-created that experience. Let the audience know I'm not a victim of divorce. I'm not even a marrying kind. I'm much better free. But I went through that, and to be honest with you, Benji, my focus got put on something else. And right now, this radio show, and everybody knows the book's on audio now. It's going to be available on Amazon. Man, and I even recorded it with my own crazy ass voice. And so it is, I tell you what, guys, it's funny. It's tear jerking. But I sat and read it page for page. And hey, check this out. I learned a lot. I was like, damn, this is pretty good stuff. Wonder who wrote this. So I had it recorded just for the show, so that it would be available. It may be a day or two before it goes live, but everything's uploaded. And so where we're at in the process is no one, first of all, even knows the book's out there. I'm not a big self-promoter cat. I am a promoter for other people. I love helping other people realize their dreams, but I'm not a big fan of talking about myself, which is another thing, baby. This book ain't about me. My profile went low and the work profile is high. The book is about the work. Now, in the introduction, I share a little bit about my personal story so that you realize that I ain't sharing my opinion because, dude, I'm no longer interested in my own opinion because it damn near killed me. I only share with people I don't like, and so this is not my opinion. This is based on my actual experience of going through the recipe precisely, word for word, page for page, working all them 12 steps, and my life rocketed into an entire different dimension of existence, and I thought, shit, this is cool. But what about the non-alcoholics and addicts that are, we talked about something else a minute ago that I do want to revisit just real fast, Benji. And that is the question of motivation. Man, what in the world? One of the things I had to do, Benji, I went to Home Depot and walked up and asked for the manager and said, look, I stole some stuff. You don't even know I stole it. I'm here to pay your money back. And he's like, what? I'm like, yeah, I'm working my 9 step. He's like, damn. Why would the average person do that? Now, I did it because I was dying, man. I had a death sentence. Alcoholism kills people, and I was motivated to not die. Out of virtuous cat. Mm-hmm. But the rest of the world, they don't have that give, man. And even though they're not even living, see, dying ain't the problem. The problem is living and never living. That's the problem. People's Anonymous. If you ain't living, loving, and laughing, and you ain't experiencing bliss at least 6 days a week, and abundance, because we live in a world of abundance. If you live in a world of scarcity, depression, on and on and on, baby, there's a way out, man. And it's like I said, that's exactly where alcoholics live all the time. We got that shit down to a science. But I don't think we have a market on it, man. I think the whole world suffers from the exact same thing. We just have to treat ours with booze.
There it is. I agree with everything that you're saying. Lane, listen, man, again, as we're tying up this fantastic interview, because there's so much information, guys, again, you know what you got to do. People's Anonymous, 12 Steps to Heal Your Life, available at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, or peoplesanonymous.com by Lane W. This is absolutely profound. This is a book that everybody needs to have on their shelves. As we continue, again, as we start to tie it up, Lane, a few times during this interview, you've started to go into, and again, you've never actually mentioned the higher force in this regard being God. I think a couple of times you've mentioned the creator, and, you've mentioned how you're more spiritual in your beliefs and your outlook. Now, pertaining to this book, I think it could be easily misconstrued, and I want to give you the opportunity to kind of dispel any narratives. Is People's Anonymous a religious movement?
Not at all. Matter of fact, religion is what keeps you from having a spiritual experience, or can, not necessarily. But let me go ahead and try to address it. So I was raised by, my dad's an atheist, yet one of the most spiritual men on the planet. Mm-hmm. Figure that out. My mom is a metaphysician, and my older sister, is a fundamental Christian. So I have a spiritual identity crisis. Dad says there's no God. Mom says there's a bunch of them. My little sister, my big sister, there's only one. You don't believe in him, you're going to go there. So I have always struggled my personal life to believe in power greater than me, and yet here I am, somehow still alive. Now, what the beauty of People's Anonymous and its predecessor, which everybody thinks the same shit about AA, some religious program. There's as many atheists staying sober as there are Christians or Buddhists or whatever. Mm-hmm. It is not a religion. What People's Anonymous is you can be a Christian, but you can also be a Buddhist, and you can also be a believer, or you can be a heathen, or you can be whatever you are. And in this process, the creator, in my experience, will find you and meet your ass where you are instead of somebody telling you where you need to be. Because I couldn't get there. And so it's just like I said, man, one of the gifts our predecessor has given us. None of this shit's original, guys. Alcoholics are selfish by nature. At least I am. We want to keep this stuff for ourselves. There's some people mad as hell right now listening to this radio station. What are you doing giving our shit away? But maybe it is for us, man. There was a thing that happened in the fellowship to me. As crazy as it is, but we're 10% of the planet. We some of us have been to prison and Mexican jail and insane asylums. Yeah, we're sitting over thinking we're better than everybody else. Just because we ain't drinking. My grandmother didn't drink for 90 years. She said, get a job. That don't mean nothing. And so, what People's Anonymous is doing, I want to read something just real quick. I want to share this one little idea that I don't want to even attempt to try to articulate off the cuff. It says, why PA? Really, why is that AAD, ACA? There's 180 something different AA. 12 step. Why the hell do we need another one?
Mm-hmm.
Why PA? People's Anonymous has come to the world to help remove all degrees of separation in the 12-step movement of healing and transformation. Prior to PA, one could gain access to the 12 steps through a variety of different special interest groups. And as beautiful and powerful as these individual gatherings are, they were born in an atmosphere of separation, believing that you needed to identify with a specific form of dis-ease, really is all it is. They call it disease, but dis-ease, for healing. PA proposes we all struggle with some form of the human condition. We are all in this together. Our interest does not lie separate. Neither does our healing. What a thought, man. It's
Absolutely
beautiful. And so I guess to answer your question specifically, in the fellowship of recovery and healing of the 12 steps, it's a unity movement. It's an all-inclusive movement. You can believe in Jesus. Look, I love Jesus. Christians scare me a little bit, but, Jesus is a cool cat, and I'm a big fan. But you can believe whatever you want to believe. But check this out. Believing in regards to healing, don't do shit. You got to do some stuff, man. Mm-hmm. You think you can believe your way to wherever, maybe you can believe your way to heaven, but we used to say in A&A, we're not here to save your soul, we're here to save your ass. And if you like, the church is in the soul saving business. We're in the life saving business.
There you have it.
We are here to help you transform your life. There was a bunch of caterpillars sitting around talking. One caterpillar says, I want to be a better caterpillar. Other one says, screw that. I want to fly. And says, no, man, worms can't fly. Hell, look at me. I am a flying worm. The transformation that occurred in my life was as radical as a worm becoming a butterfly. I ain't kidding, man. And I didn't do nothing on the outside. All I did was some inventory, made some amends, looked at myself. When I went to that fellowship the first time, they said I could no longer look at what anybody else was doing. We started talking about that a minute ago. We are masters at pointing out everybody else's inventory. And speaking of that Jesus cat, he said something, why the hell are you looking in the speck in your brother's eye when you got a plank in your own?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can quote that shit, but I don't want people to get confused. When I wrote People's Anonymous, I was struggling between, I can go from an atheist to an agnostic to a believer all in 1 hour, depending on if I get what I want or not. And that's just honesty, baby. But I believe in God, and that's my belief. But my believing never ever did anything other than maybe going to ensure me a place in heaven. But it sure the hell didn't fix my life. I had to do some stuff. We tell people in recovery, what you think don't matter, what you say don't matter, what you want don't matter, what your feet does it matter. Chop wood, carry water. Get busy, man, cleaning this mess up, baby, before the universe, brings it back to you, because it's going to come back. If you don't clean up your mess, the universe is going to help you. I had a great teacher. I quoted her in the book. She looked kind of like a white witch. She looked at me and said, Sonny, sometimes God whispers, sometimes he shouts. Please don't make him shout. So People's Anonymous is a whisper, baby. We're whispering to you. This is a process that's proven millions of people, Benji. There are millions and millions of ex-homeless people, crackheads, hookers, convicts that are CEOs of oil corporations, that are pilots, that are incredible mothers. This is why working these steps. And if you don't think that this stuff can't fix your neurosis because you're depressed, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I ain't minimizing your depression either. But what I'm saying is, sitting there talking to somebody about it, get some therapy, that's fine. But, sitting there talking about myself never helps. I got to do some stuff and then talk about you. See, I got the most relief in my life when I was sitting with a new man, listening to him talk about him. Wow. Not me talking to somebody, paying my $150 an hour to talk about me.
There you go.
Totally flip the script.
There you have it. There you have it. Listen, Lane, last question, man. I'm curious to know, why is it that you have written this book anonymously?
Well, because AA World Service asked me for one, and I was married at the time too, and my wife did not want me to sponsor the world. Not only one man, But so AA has many traditions, which I follow them all. But one of the traditions is, and it's a wise tradition, it says, we maintain personal anonymity at the level of press, radio, and film. Because, if you're in the A&A class, and you get popular, and you go talking to everybody and say, hey, I'm at A&A, and next thing you know, you're drunk, they're going to go, shit, that shit don't work,
Mm-hmm.
And it does. Any recipe works when you follow it precisely. But if you only put 3/4 of a recipe in and you're baking a cake, your dog ain't going to eat that shit, So you got to go through the whole thing. So AA says, baby, you are welcome to use these steps. We know it'll help everybody. But write it anonymously, number one. And number two, if this word ever gets out, that these steps do gradually what whiskey does instantly, that the bliss and joy that comes from this process is beyond your wildest wet dream. It's going to, but this is one last, I'm so sorry, this is so much stuff. But we also did something different than the predecessor. We made the book people, my mentor said, baby, if I do my job well, you will not need me very long. And I said, what? You don't like me? He said, no, baby, I do like you. But my job is to help lead you to the source and get the hell out of your way. Mm-hmm. You don't need to depend on me or anybody else. Plug in, baby. And so we wrote People's Anonymous. Well, you don't even have to have a sponsor. It is a workbook. You need a closed mouth friend to do your 5-step list. And if you follow the rest of those recipes, directions precisely, then you can have a spiritual experience beyond your wildest dream. And the movie you call your life will change instantaneously. So there's that. I want to if we're closing it down, man, I want to thank everybody for listening to this crazy old guy. I'm a mess, baby, but I'll tell you this, I am a satisfied customer, and I ain't making no money. So, I ain't in it for the money. I make money doing a lot of other stuff. I'm real good at that. But what I am into doing is keeping what I have, and they introduced me in that little, private organization. They taught me, if you want to keep what you have, you got to give it away, because all you give to yourself. And so as I help other people get high in a real way, not a chemical way, then I get high. And I help people get happy, I get happier. And in the music business and the film business, I help people realize their dreams. Check out what happens, Benji. My dreams they're realized automatically. I spent my whole life, my dad taught me this, God bless him, he's a great man. His dad taught him that, but his dad shot himself. He killed himself, so there's that. Man, this shit ain't working. But my dad said, look, work hard, take care of yourself, your spare time, help others. But when I was doing that, I noticed in the universe was helping others better than I was. Well, I'm going to take care of myself, so I stopped doing that. Now, I devote my life to helping others, and all of a sudden, the universe started helping me. And man, when the universe started taking care of me, taking care of me, dude, like I made some millions of dollars, and all of a sudden I got houses all over the country and beautiful people in my life. And I know it doesn't make sense, but it is a spiritual paradox. Surrender to win, stuff like that.
There you go.
But I want to give a quick shout out to everybody. Tatiana, my beautiful girl, who is going to be the next Mariah Carey at least. And I went to studio and Fox Red Sky, man, she's awesome. Red Sky Inc. REDSKYINK.com. That's our music production company. We're part Native American, and we're trying to remind the world, everybody, that we need to honor Mother Earth and think 10 generationally instead of about next week, and leave things better than we found them. And we're making movies in conjunction with that. Sunny Lane Sparks, Sunny with an O, SunnyLaneSparks.co, not .com, but .co is my music production company. That'll be online soon. And peoplesanonymous.com, brother. You can go to that website. You can download everything you need to have a meeting in your neighborhood. You don't got to send me no money or nothing. You ain't got to ask permission. I'd appreciate it if you give me a call. There's a way to communicate me there, just like kind of guide you to help and set that thing up. Because you can't transmit something you don't have. So you can't be helping others until you work the steps yourself. And so if you start meeting, don't be running around playing Mr. Guru and Mr. Counselor and trying to help people do some shit you ain't even done. But once you get through them steps, you can start a little meeting, and you can actually take those through the steps. And the more people, I've taken thousands, and I've had the front row seat to the transformation of the human life right before my eyes, as me simply being a hollow bone and allowing Creator to work through me and transforming their lives. And I feel like I got a little piece of that just by being present and sitting there reading to them, basically. And that brings me such joy. I love sunsets. I love the witness, the transformation of the human life. I love beautiful women, and I love the beach and my little boy.
There you go.
So thank you so much for listening to me rant and rave. And
of course, man.
If there's anything I ever can do to help anyone out there, let me know. Benji, you're a cool cat, man. I mean, you're doing a great thing. I ain't kidding you. I ain't blowing no smoke up your ass. I don't really even like people that much, but I care deeply about them. But, the bottom makes it very impressive. When you're walking in your sleep, you ain't that impressive, But I think you and your dad have started a great thing. It's so funny. I definitely was a person of distinction, but it wasn't something to be proud of. But today, you cats called me, and now I'm a person of distinction in a positive way.
Absolutely.
That, my friend, is the ultimate fruit of the 12 steps.
There you have it. Guys, I'm not going to go on any more of a spiel. What he said was just beautifully laid out in the way that he addressed it. You know what you got to do. One last time, again, People's Anonymous, 12 Steps to Heal Your Life, available at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, or directly through his website, peoplesanonymous.com, by Lane W. Lane, thank you once again, man, for being a guest with us today on People of Distinction.
Absolute pleasure.